All right. Hi, guys. We have Andy on the call today. 25 years of experience, lead gen, building, scaling, growing. This dude is amazing. I just want to get right over to you. Andy, if you could just start with your journey, kind of, how you got started in recruiting and, a little bit about you and background, and then let's dive into all the great stuff you've done.
Sure, keep it short, hey? There's not much of it. Left university, um, pretty much blagged my way into the biggest Japanese bank in the world, Youre, which is in, well, first of all, admin, then system testing. Then within the space of maybe 7, 8 years, I had a team of 75, managing one of the biggest digital CRM implementations in Europe for B-Sky, on with another guy, by the way. So I'm very good at strategy, reverse engineering. Then 2008, I thought I'm done with this, quit overnight, and then bought a load of property. That went well. Pretty much lost it all because of what happened. And then got into what's good at digital. So at that point, I was working with recruitment companies, car companies, all sorts. And then a chap in recruitment from the UK, Mike Walmsley, said, if you're that good, come and do a presentation to my Pinnacle group, which I did. And then when I left that room, about half the room approached me and said, can you work for me? Can you help me? Can you do what you just shared for my business? I was like, wow. So I looked at recruitment as a niche, as you always need to do. And I was like, I cannot believe this. It's like the Wild Wild West. This is so antiquated. I joined Youre in 1996. The internet started in 1995. All I've known is the internet. All I've known is digital data, and looking at things as a binary number. There's only X amount of candidates in the niche, X amount of clients in your niche. It's a binary number. Step one, get the lead or get the candidate. Step two, you convert. Step three, you deliver. Get through a guarantee period, start the process again, scale. So I came into recruitment. I was like, this is a shower of shit, to be frank. Not from ego, just from I was confused. How can this person make £1 million? As it turns out, it's the big biller concept. So the individual who is very good at sales, very good at 360 recruitment, get the role, get the candidate. That's not a scalable model. It is if you're an individual, but if you're looking to create a business, it's not scalable. And if a business owner now is watching it with 20 360 recruiters arguing that point, I'd argue with metrics and facts back at you why that's not scalable. Through either they leave or the process itself is not scalable because you're exchanging time for money. Mm-hmm. So about 7, 8 years ago, another really cool person in recruitment said, what you're doing with these companies, you need to share en masse. So I created something called the Inner Circle, which essentially is where we take companies between startup and up to 13, 14 million, get them to the next jump. So normally it's about those who are doing, well, between startup and 500,000. So those who are startup want to get to 250 in the first year. Those at 250 want to break the plateau and get to 1 million. Those at 1 million want to get to 3. Bigger companies who come and do 13, 40 million are coming. They're actually not making much profit. We've got 25, 30 members of staff, but actually they're making no money. You've got revenue, or it might be contract based, but making actual no profit. So one example is a company came with 35 staff, and within 6 months it's down to 7 staff, from 7 branches down to 2, and then made roughly $500,000 profit in that period, but made no profit before. And on the flip side, with our members join us, and sort of, I expect a member to double in the first year and half their hours. But at the same time, Darren Franks, really, really cool member now, he 10x his business inside 2 years. I said to him the first month, I can give you 40 hours per week back. He said, if you do that, I'm going to use it. So Darren is, he 10x his business, really cool guy from the UK, but he's in the South African marketplace. So he uses authority strategy. So Darren actually got flown to London as a speaker, because he's the authority in his niche, which is diversity for women in fintech, etc. So essentially, it's been digital. I came into recruitment. It's like taking the digital concept into recruitment. I started something called the Laptop Recruiter about 5, 6 years ago, which essentially is working for your laptop, creating a business, which is what I did, but applied it to recruitment. Then you get married and have kids, it all changes.
You can't get to your laptop.
Yeah, but the principle is to scale any business, it becomes methodical numbers, metrics. At some point, of course, speak to the client, speak to the candidate. We speak to clients who are qualified, they're hiring, they're interested, and they believe you. What you're not going to do is go on the phone to a client with objections. You want to bring the objections further downstream, what we call a client attainment system. So when you go on a call with a client, all the objections have been overcome. so you don't waste your time. So as you go up the model, up the curve of the graph, your time gets more precious, and the likelihood of you getting paid gets more, the fee gets higher. So don't spend your time on treating every lead the same. You treat every lead based on a P1, P2, P3, etc. So there's certain things we do, but for me, it was logical. I come from IT. So when I come into recruitment, we had one guy in particular, I won't mention his name out being cool. He wrote a blog about me saying this guy talks shit. But he didn't say it. He didn't say my name. I think, idiot. But anyway, he said, and I didn't know about it. I don't Google myself. Who does that? You know, apart from the Kardashian. But he wrote this blog and he said, this guy's talking shit. And then I was at a board meeting in the IOD in London, and he was sat next to me and he said nothing to me. So the thing is this, my background is metrics and digital. Now, I don't profess to be the best recruiter in the world at all, not from recruitment, but applying digital strategy to recruitment and even to a conversion conversation. So when you convert a client, your client wants to know you've got the best candidate. So if you can say to a client, there's 500 candidates in your niche or for this role, we've got 492 of them in our ecosystem. When we give you the top 6 candidates, we're giving you the top 6 from the top 492, as opposed to internal recruitment or another recruitment business, they give you the first 6. So when you convert, if you can't even sell, you're converting based on, again, binary numbers and metrics. So this is where it becomes scalable. So my background is not recruitment. I'm open about that. I'm also open about I lost everything in 2008 with property, but I'm good at digital. But when I say things are predictable, they are predictable. You need to do the work. Of course you do. But the most important thing is this. The world is now online. And with the onset of COVID and what's happened here, everyone's now going remote. We've been doing that for like a decade. You know, laptop recruiter 6-7 years ago. So there's a lot there, but in principle, what I'm saying is anyone, I believe, and I've seen it, can either start a business in recruitment search, scale a business in recruitment search, as long as they do 2 things. Number 1, they take an action. If you take an action, you get a metric, cause, process, effect. You get an outcome. If you get an outcome, you have a metric. So Andy, I've run this campaign, it converts at 7%. Right, let's tweak this, literally change a few words, 14%, tweak it, 20%, tweak it again. So that's literally it. Number 1, take an action, then you get a metric. Okay, that's it. And the second thing is, don't be an idiot. Because if you're going to build a business, you know, I've started probably 10 businesses over the years, and you're going to fail at most of them. And if I knew what I knew now, I would know that the magic is in being simple. So you take an action, you get a metric. The metric virtually every single time tells you what to do. What to do. So if you can take an action, you get a metric, and then you're patient enough to go, right, next week we'll run it again for 5 days. Next week, so we might get 20 leads, we speak to 10 of them, we convert 5, right, run it again. 25 leads, we convert 15, run it again. And that then comes down to literally a template. It comes down to a script within reason. Scripts don't work per se, but everything is modularized, and you can then scale. So most of our members who get past 7 figures will have, for example, a commission on your recruiter, which means they don't convert the client. And normally it will be only I can convert the client because I've been in the industry for 30 years. That's a normal mindset. But you're a business owner. It's really important. You're a business owner. You're not a recruiter. You're a business owner. You're not a recruiter. If you're a recruiter, you're getting paid time for money. A business owner will exchange time for other people's money. So you have a set of steps, set of processes. But this is a bit where recruitment's been conditioned to bullshit, which is immediate results. We do this, we get it within make a phone call, didn't work. Now, you want that mindset, but if you really want to grow a business, you're a business owner. That's the most important insight, I'd say.
Yeah, let me ask this. A lot of content there. Let's get right into it. So the metrics, what software, what systems do you like to use to track, right? So when I talk with recruiters, they got the BD and the outreach side, and they've got the candidate side and the ATS. So, I'm curious for your clients, do you have them all using the same software? Or are there ones that you prefer more than others? Or, because in order to do this and really actually track the metrics, you need that. Like, you can't just use Google Sheets and expect to, be able to produce the metrics.
The thing is, Todd, going back about 7 years, I had an idea for a LinkedIn tool, and I wrote it out, some requirements. I then roughly designed it, gave to a company in India, and they created it. So I had a really cool tool that was doing really, really cool things. And then the little sods then sold it behind my back. But anyway, but it's cool. This tool did some really, really cool things. Anyway, So that tool brought in leads, okay, in the format that it did. And then if we talk about the tools for your business, when someone that I engage with says, well, I need clients now, we use what we call a campaign tool, okay? So a campaign tool. So I need clients now, Andy. I need candidates now. It's a campaign tool. Then we got someone else saying, right, I want to be the number one authority in the niche. So then we got authority tools. Then someone else saying, I want to nurture my clients. That's a nurturing tool. But you know what? The tool doesn't matter. The tool doesn't matter. What matters is this, is your business in recruitment is 3 steps. Number 1, leads.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we get together 3 times a year in London in the Grand Connaught Rooms in Covent Garden, and our members fly in. This year we've not done it clearly because of COVID.
Oh, good.
So we've done an online intensive. So our member will submit an audit, and then effectively they'll jump on the call, and we'll create a plan for the next 90 days on that call. Okay. So we've done that for the last 2 Mondays. So on that call, one of the things that was really prevalent with some of the newer members was the main thing they need to do is put more volume through. So say, for example, we've got a strategy called RRR. So that tool that I created, overnight, LinkedIn changed their terms and conditions and changed their API.
Yeah, the API changes because I've done that too, and the API always switches. And I was like, I just got to outsource this to another company and let their engineers stay on it.
I woke up and went, shit, I've got 100 members here using this tool, and it's like, what am I going to do? So we had to come up with a new strategy, and the strategy I wanted to identify was, right, can we get 90% up to 100% of all clients in a niche in our own ecosystem? So whether it be on LinkedIn or it be off LinkedIn, our own database, number 1. Number 2, how can we then segment that data? So say, for example, we want a construction job in Texas. How do we segment it, put it into a campaign where we literally take 500 contacts, and then we can press go. Then in our inbox, we know predictably we're going to get 23% response rate with 20 A's. So A's are, we're hiring, we want to speak to you. B's are, we're hiring, we're not sure about you. C's are, we're not hiring, stroke bugger off, okay? So what happened out of when that tool not being able to be used was probably the best thing. So we created what we call RRR as a process. So we got who's our clients, who's the candidates, how do we get all of them in our ecosystem, put them through a campaign. Then in the campaign, there's 7 templates. So those 7 templates probably took me about 2 years to optimize. And then when someone joins in, it's tweak it still. Of course you do. To fit there, of course you do. It's not like a one size fits all. Then you get the inbound, what happens? Then you follow up. And then you've got what we call client attainment system. So before you speak to the client, all the objections have been overcome. So it's not about the tool, it's about the process. Step 1 is how do we get the leads? So we've got members who they shouldn't do this, by the way, but may have been with us for 4 or 5 months. And we got, give you one example, Alan. Alan's got 28 in his team, which is not the norm, by the way. It normally comes to us. But he started a new desk in telecoms. His best performing desk is the new desk. And all he's doing is using a LinkedIn strategy, a 4-step LinkedIn strategy. So how does it work? 1 is the process. 2 is the templates. 3 is the follow-up process. So it's not actually about the tool per se. So you can use X amount of tools, but the most important thing is the metrics. So the metrics we always talk about with the campaign is this. So it's going to be how many clients in the niche, how many in our database, what's the gap, what don't we have? Okay, same with candidates. How many candidates in the niche? 10,000. How many in the database? 1,000. Gap in 9,000. But based on those numbers right away, I can isolate straight away what that business is probably doing to get business in. And I can isolate straight away whether they're sitting on a lot of money or they're sitting on, right, you've got some work here. What will normally happen is most businesses come with, we've got between 5 and 20% coverage of clients, and candidates anywhere between 0 and sometimes in a sub niche 100%, but normally no sort of coverage. So if you think about it, make $1 million, what do you need? If you're getting paid 20K a placement, 50 placements, great.
Yep.
So to do that, so that's without repeat business. So to do that, what do you need? So is it best to have a market of 200,000, or what's your niche? It's IT. No, it's not IT. What's your niche? And you go through that like an onion again.
Get really down.
And I always get told this every single time. I've been told this by multiple billion pound companies, and mostly corporate and startups. We're different because you're not different. I'm not being a dick here, but you're not different. So we need to isolate, what do you want? I want £1 million, right, 50 placements, agreed. Right, to do that, is it better that we isolate a niche of say 5,000 clients and say 15,000 candidates, and that becomes our focus yet? So your client can qualify, you're his provider. So when they look at your website, look at your LinkedIn, look at your client attainment system, what we call the CAS, they can see that guy is a solution for my specific niche, not IT in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about the tool, because I could talk for hours about the tools. It's about the process. One, get leads in. Two is conversion, i.e. we speak to the client. So when we speak to the client, we call that, a conversion opportunity. That will come down to a number of things. Number one, we've got 20 calls booked. Number two, how many turned up? Number three, what was the outcome? TNC signed. Then we get into retained business, etc. So we got a member, Laura Anderson, who works veterinary-services.com. And Laura's been with me probably, I don't know, about 4 years now. And when she joined, she said, right, the most important thing is I work 20 hours per week. I'm telling you now, Andy, that's it. Okay. She's going to do 7 figures this year, 20 hours per week.
That's amazing.
How's she doing that? So each year she's double. How's she done that? She's done that because, number one, she's gone, right, what is my niche? One of her sub niches has 42 candidates. There's 42. All that means is, if she got those 42 qualified and see her as the demi goddess, which she is, she's lovely, by the way, which she is, and with the things that you do there, what we've got is we've got a very discrete candidate pool. So what we need is the matching client pool. So the client wants those candidates. So when someone says, I'm in IT or I'm in Java, what are you doing? It's like, so I always say industry, location, role. Exactly, who's your client? It's like online dating. And it's like, well, the first steps, when someone joins us is, it's not sexy, but it's also the most important thing that will ever happen. We've had businesses leave us to be sold with a value gone through the roof because, like with WhatsApp, because of the data they've got, let alone the authority. But my thing's about, you've got two things. One, you want cash. Two, you want to exit your business. That's why someone comes to us. So to do that, what niche am I really in? So it's not about the tools, Todd, okay? It's about leads, what the metrics behind leads. Two, the metrics behind conversion, i.e. how many clients do I get signed with, and get retained, etc. And three, how many do we deliver? So how many actual roles do we complete on? Okay, so leads, conversion, delivery. That's recruitment. And when someone says, yeah, but I'm in search. So if I say to that person, right, you're in search, how many of those candidates are in your niche? And they say, but it's different. I'm in search. Okay, but that perfect candidate, how many are there? Maybe 400. Okay, would it be of use to you if all 400 saw you as the god?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can nurture those every year, twice a week with automated content, but specific content around hot buttons, would that be of use to you? Of course it would. So search is tough. But again, I've only known digital, and this pisses off a lot of people who the way I speak, but I really don't care. I put a video on YouTube years ago saying, get off LinkedIn and own your niche. I got all sorts of literally abuse, but I really don't care. Really don't care. Stay in your bubble. But the reality is we're in an online world, and if COVID's done nothing for people, everyone works remote right now.
Absolutely.
It's going to stick. And the way that you need to get candidates to attract, come to you is going to stick. The way that you convert clients is going to stick. So the methods of networking, breakfast networking, make me feel sick even saying that, but the old way of doing things is not going to work. We have to embrace that this is where we're in, but it's all I've known. So when I've been in recruitment for the last 10 years, is first of all, it took me a long time to get my message across. But when it did, it clicked. So I'd say to everybody, your business is very simple. Leads, conversion, delivery. And leads means getting clients in and getting candidates in, not just both. Matching.
Oh.
The conversion, you convert the client, you convert the candidate. Delivery, get the candidate on site, get them through your guarantee period, repeat the process, etc. Okay, but it's being too complicated, recruitment. I think it's because big biller thing, which is great. People who can sell, I've got nothing but respect for. I could never be that man when I was 15, walk across the nightclub and go, all right, darling, do you want a drink? I was never that man. I could never do the sales thing, That's why I've always been into inbound. But we've got to embrace where we are now, and just hope lots of people do, because not enough are.
Yeah, I love it how specific this is, because you really have it dialed in a way that allows people, and I want to really emphasize this, to work less and still like really grow and scale their businesses. Yeah. Like it's such a dialed in process that you really can like not be chained to your desk working 18-hour days feeling like you can't leave your computer. Like it's really important to be able to because that's where like life is. Like you get to value your life and enjoy it.
But you know, one of the things, the other lady joined us about 5 years ago, Diane, and if you're watching, how you doing? You know who you are. Diana, sorry. And she said, I joined you, Andy, because every time I saw you online, you were just messing about. You weren't doing things. Now, I hate social media. I know it's part of life, but also what I hate is you need Snapchat, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. I don't do any of my social media, okay? But you know, it's more about we're a real business, okay? Because some schmucks out there, we all know that. So the reality is, I started off with the laptop lifestyle for me because I was living in Thailand doing Muay Thai. And of course, things change because you get married and you have kids. So the last 5 years, you know, really, I should be sharing all the time that you know, this is what life's like. When COVID started, they say when it started, I worked 18-hour days every day for 5 months with my members. They said most of it was not even about strategy, it was about lifting people up. And it killed me, it drained me. But in a good way, because you're supporting people. But to actually bring your business in with leads in and conversion, you don't need to be bringing leads in. You don't need to be doing the converting. You don't need to do the delivery. You're a business owner. And if you break it down into steps, then metrics, everything's controlled. And then I don't do so much now, but when I consult with multi-billion-pound companies, I'll always go back to the same basics. The same basics about numbers. And every time it's like, I've got no idea. And then outside looking in, it's like a friend of mine said, it's like it's like they're in the bottle and you're looking at the label. And it's because it's now all I've done now for so long. It's like this is easy to fix if you do the work. If you do the work. But it's the same about if I really mean this. When I left the corporate world, I spent a year mentoring kids in Liverpool. I've actually got a commendation from the Lord Mayor of Liverpool for helping kids. But I couldn't monetize it. I tried to be a life coach, believe it or not. And but you can't monetize it. I did one event, about 20 people there, and I thought, oh man, I can't bring up my lifestyle or get a family for like 100 quid. So, but I genuinely get a buzz of helping people. That's my big thing. And it's why what we do now, I get a thing off it, But the thing is, though, if you don't meet in the middle, don't take the action, you won't get a metric. If you get a metric, it can be fixed. If you don't get a metric, you can't fix it. And that's the main thing.
Data.
I've had to suffer a bit myself and say, no, you've not met in the middle here. You're a business owner. Man up.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Even listening to you talk, Andy, it's, I can look at myself. It's like I'm such an intuitive person that I don't rely on metrics enough. And then just to echo back what you have said, I view it as a life cycle, and I view it as birth, life, and death. And then, birth is obviously lead gen and marketing. And then life is like, what am I breathing life into? The current people that I'm, in exchange with and in flow with. And then death, which a lot of people don't think about, which is like your alumni and like, you're not always going to be the right match for someone. You're the right match for them, a recruiter now. What do what happens when that time has passed away, So I kind of view what you're saying. That's generally how I think of it. I'm like birth, life, and then death. And then what are the metrics and what are the things that I'm working on for each of these? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's 3 steps, but we don't want to kill the candidate though. That's not going to be cool.
Yeah, it's more
life. We're not changing it.
Yeah, look,
life, afterlife.
the afterlife is fine. It's more like the alumni thing. It's like you've had all these great clients, and for some reason, like something that people don't talk about. It's like you get these clients, and it's like, well, then they fall off. Well, why? And it's like, what are you doing there? Because they are going to be great champions of you if you treat that relationship with respect and you find a way to still give into it when it's, not exactly lining up. And, one of the things I'm proud of is, proud and not proud is there was an entire year I did no lead gen and no biz dev. And the reason is because I had so many referrals because I took care of that category. You know what I mean? And then eventually I was like, okay, I want to get back into lead gen and growing and putting.
So what I say to you there is, we had a guy come to us who'd been doing about 300,000 for a decade, okay? And he's on our case studies page. You can look at who he is. So been doing about 300,000 for about a decade. And his main way of getting business was referrals. So he came in and we created a game plan for the first 90 days for a business, okay? And his game plan was a little bit different from most people. So we combined him getting referrals with an authority strategy, which is what we call a Maven webinar. They went from 300,000 to 1 million in that year. So if your way of getting referrals is proven, the thing naturally I'll be thinking is, right, don't just go with what I just said, leads, blah, 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 blah. So, right, if this is proven, first of all, let's see what's going on here. If you've got in front of you a set of variables, a set of proven numbers that we can use, that's low-hanging fruit, and it'd be futile to not use that first. And this guy said we combine a referral strategy and a Maven web. So basically, we had a world leader in his niche on a webinar once a month. Through that, we got a referral either from attendees or him. Each time it was 100 grand per webinar he got in total, roughly. Did $1 million in his first year. He actually brought his wife to one of our events in London. Gave me a hug. He said, brilliant, brilliant. But the thing was this, his conversion process, i.e. you said about breathing life into it and the death bit, what he used to do was he'd fly into a city to meet the client, then hopefully convert them, get terms and conditions signed, which meant he didn't see his wife and his daughter, which is why, when his wife came to our event in London, it's like, gave me a hug. I was like, this is great. So what I'm saying to you here, if you've got proof of, your referral strategy, what you've done, you need to think of, number one, how to leverage that. There's something there. But with the world nowadays, you think, right, I've got these 20 examples where it works referral-wise for yourself. I'd be saying, right, someone always completes an audit when they come to us, okay? It takes about an hour. So complete your audit, it'd be like, right, let's look at this. And what you've done before is probably going to be stuff there you can't see. Same as me, I got a mentor. The stuff that I can't see, I hate using the word, I'm not a mentor, but you know what I mean? You can't see it because you're in it. And if you've got a proven set of numbers with referrals, you're going, right, is that something that is predictable? I.e., if you do this activity, Todd, this thing happens and this output happens. Is there no, can we prove that as a concept? Maybe yes or no. So normally, you get through 3 to 5 cycles, it starts to become linear, not 100%, but linear. So you can say that's 20%, that's 50%, that's 50%, well, it's, becomes linear. Then merely you say, right, if I put more units in, I get more units out, which is when selling a recruitment business becomes really exciting for me, because you can demonstrate to a broker, right, we put 10 units in and get 100 units out, that's exciting. Not we've got a big biller in the middle. So the big billers like you, a really cool person who can, well, convert and build, you'll get referrals. So I'd be saying, let's sanity check your referral process. Is it something that you're doing? Is it something that we can replicate? If we had you doing that 20 times a year, what would it be money-wise? So it's all about looking at what's in front of you, because all of us got assets in front of us. So when I speak about ecosystems, all the clients, all the candidates, for me that's first 90-day stuff. That's every business should know, every client in the niche, every candidate, have them all dialed in. So when a role comes in, right, I need a client, I need a candidate in Texas, in this sub niche, bam, off goes the campaign. So that's campaign wise. What we're talking about with you here with the referral piece and what other recruitment business will be doing is they might say, well, every time I speak to a client, I convert them. So the first thing I'm thinking is, right, so our first outcome is getting you 50 appointments. Is that right? Would that be of use to you? Because normally you get 10. Yeah, let's do that first. Because often, it's right in front of us. And the joy with digital nowadays is it's easy to do if you know what to do. So, your 3-step process is similar to mine, but I'm not killing the candidate though. But the referral piece though, you've got something there. How do you replicate it? There's only 2 ways to grow a business. Only 2 ways in recruitment. Number 1, increase conversion at any point. More leads, more conversion, more delivery. Number 2, more volume. That's it. There's only 6 factors to grow your business. Only 6 factors to grow your business in recruitment. It's really simple, and it's so complicated with all the shit I see, but never gonna ever.
Give me the 6. Give everyone the 6. What are the 6?
Leads, increase conversion, increase volume. So we get more volume in, we convert more of the leads coming in. Number 2, conversion conversations. We get more conversion conversations, we convert more of them. Number 3, we deliver more candidates. So we get more volume, more candidates on site, convert, they get past guarantee period. There's only 6 factors, it isn't difficult. So when I mentioned Laura earlier, who's best year ever now, 20 hours per week. Laura came on a call with us about 2 years ago and said, right, how do I get retained? I said, just do it. And she thinks, well, normally, Andy, you've got modules and you've got, workflows and stuff, but just do it. To go retained, i.e., the client will pay you probably normally in 3 parts. So, 20K, 20K, 20K. It comes down to 2 things. Number 1, if you've got enough deal flow, enough leads coming in, you can say no to people. And then number 2, what they want to see is an exchange of value. So if they can see you really have got the best candidates, you really do provide the best service, you are better than internal recruitment, you are better than preferred suppliers list, you are better than other recruitment search businesses. If you can demonstrate that, then you're going to get paid your retained fee and be the highest paid in your niche. Now we do that with what we call a client attainment system, which started as a simple PDF. It took me 5 years to get to that point. So when someone says it's no, it's taken years to get to this point. But then it becomes a video, then an automated webinar and whatever else. But it's not just a webinar. It's a whole, the psychology behind it is immense. But that's it. So to get retained is simple. If you've got enough leads coming in and if you've got the exchange of value. So so underneath that's another layer. What does your client really want? What are the objections about them? So there's work there, but if you do these sort of key building blocks, these key foundations, like building a house. What most recruitment people do, if you're starting a business now, anyone's watching this, right, I'm going to get a website, I'm going to do a LinkedIn profile. If you're doing the same thing every day, 200 days of the year, you haven't got a business, you've got a job. What you should have in your business is, in the first 30 days every quarter, you're building a new strategy in the first 30 days. The next 30 days in your quarter, you're now working on making that new strategy work better. Maybe a VA comes in, maybe you've got a team member take over. The third part, so day 60 to 90 in that first quarter, what you're now doing is you're now making it optimized, like go faster stripes on the boy racer car. If you're doing the same thing every day in your business, you haven't got a business, you've got a job. Or if you're a business owner, you might be doing 1 million, but you're not actually growing, I guarantee it. So it's about, right, what's the goal this year to do 1 million? To do that, I need to get 50 roles or 20 roles or 50, whatever it's going to be. To do that, I need X amount of send out, X amount. Let's do that. So how do we improve the conversion? How do we get more leads in? How do we get better leads in? How do we get more one-to-one? So some of my son getting paid 1,000 per placement. Shit, you need 1,000 one-to-ones then just to get. There's no hours there. See, so you've got to change something. We increase the fee. We increase. We might change the niche, but you need to look at the end. Always reverse engineer the steps and work backwards. And again,
I love this. It's just
always
so clear. Yeah, it's like such a clear strategy. What I'm really clear on too is that if you want to scale your business, you need to join Andy's group for sure. Absolutely. And Andy, I know you have a free gift for our audience. Would you share with them what that is so they can?
Yes, yeah, so essentially, what I've got is a. Well, first of all, go to iTunes. Normally we're number one on iTunes, but might not be today. But if you go there, there's 100 plus podcasts. You probably get value from there, and numerous webinars. They're on demand. Most of them aren't live. Just being heads up. If it's live, then I'll be name checking you. But what we've got is essentially a 6-part video series. Okay, and what it's going to do is take you through number one, which I believe is the most important thing in recruitment. So when we meet a recruitment business owner, they might be in business 30 years, they might be in business for 1 minute. You've got the bull in the china shop and you've got the procrastinator. You've got these two people, okay? The ideal is somewhere in the middle. But if I was going to pick one, it would be the guy who just breaks everything in that china shop, okay? So we talk about rainmakers and about grinders. So the first part of that is actually not giving you a strategy, but it's the most important thing. Now remember, you're a business owner, you're not a recruiter. And so if someone says, well, that's not important because it's about mindset, it's about, I hope you do well, but I've got 10 years of proof here and thousands of case studies here. You're probably not going to get to where you want to. The first bit is about more mindset. Then we get into the client problem in recruitment search nowadays, in times of COVID, the candidate problem. Then we get into the maths. So I'm a massive believer that 99.9% of problems in recruitment can be solved with a metric, even if you're sacking someone. So rather than make it emotional and you sack Jane, it's Jane. These are the metrics behind your performance. So KPI, KPA, and it's always metrics. But in this case, it's a metrics behind. If we need clients now, coming in the niche, what are our campaign metrics to get to X? Same with candidates. We've got the candidate maths, okay? So very, very simple. And then we get into sort of concluding it. But just make it really, really clear. What I've shared there is 1% of what I believe recruitment is. It's 1%. It's not everything, okay? It's literally breaking down base binary numbers, okay? It's not about nurturing. It's not about authority. It's not about team building. It's not about scale. It's not about the key components of really growing a business. But it's getting the person into, right, shit, look at my business as a set of numbers, not a set of actions. Each day you come in, have a coffee, where's the day gone? So it's more about that. So if it fits, fabulous. If it don't fit, I hope it does one day. If not, absolutely cool too. But yes, it's not what I'm about. It's just getting into, right, metrics drive your business. And the tax man will ask for a number, not for an action. Never forget that.
Yeah.
So, you know, really important.
Awesome. You guys, to access this incredible gift, just scroll down, click the button, it'll take you straight there. And then, Andy, what's the number one thing you want to leave our audience with?
I thought about this before and I've suddenly gone in my head. Do you know what it is? It's as I said earlier, I was trying to make it more eloquent than maybe I can do right now, but it's, you're a business owner, you're not a recruiter. So on New Year's Eve, when you speak to your wife, to your spouse, say, right, this year, we're going to smash it, darling. You have your little internal thought, and being an entrepreneur is the toughest thing in the world. If I knew it was tough, I would never have started. Who knows? We'll be honest about that. So I started many businesses. You're a business owner, you're not a recruiter. So it's so important. So you need to become a master of business, and then master leads, master conversion, and master delivery. But businesses who get over 1 million will not be doing leads, they will not be doing conversion, they will not be doing delivery. And in fact, virtually every business that I engage with, and it's not always a fit, you know, we've got a 30-day guarantee, you know, love it or leave it. So we might say to you, you're not a fit for us, you know, and they might, also you can see we're the real deal, you can leave us too, you know, we're open about this. It's about, you're a business owner, but leads in isn't your job. Converting probably will be a job up to about 500,000 on average, maybe a bit more. And then delivery isn't your job either. And then over 1 million typically isn't, depending on the market niche, of course, but you're a business owner, you're a business owner. Never forget that. You're not a recruiter.